Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville's Citizen Night and Council Work Session. If we'd all kindly rise for the Lord's Prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll open up for our Citizens Night, and we'll go on the list of folks that have signed in. And that's Emma Oldman.
Is it Ima?
Ima, maybe? Okay. How about Chuck Somerville? Oh, and Debbie is.
You're going to be for the Monroeville Jazz Festival, correct? Okay, well that's coming up after.
Yeah, that's separate. Alyssa Beck. Oh, we're quick around here sometimes.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Beck. I have to admit I haven't been.
Please don't touch the microphone.
Watch out!
It's the voice from above.
That's the voice from above.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Everybody does it.
Okay, I'll do a yoga lunge here so I can. So I'm here representing Sustainable Monroeville, which is an organization, loosely formed nonprofit that's not a 501c3 that meets monthly at the Monroeville Public Library for the past 6 years. A sprout from our organization was the Monroeville Food Garden, which for the past number of years has provided 500 pounds of fresh produce to 4 local food banks in the region that we can be real proud of. And I just wanted to mention tonight that we have a program that we're working towards completing that is a program in conjunction with Sustainable Pittsburgh, and it's called Sustainable Community Certification. And the reason that I'm standing here at council is because maybe, or maybe not, the council people and others in the community have heard about this. We've been working graciously with Tim Little. He's come to one of our meetings, as well as one of the council people, Mr.
Caleri.
Say that again?
Paul Caleri.
Yeah. And
Paul.
Paul. And I just wanted to pass out, maybe I'll start it at this end and you can pass it along, the tenets of what's been going on. Thank you. For the past several meetings, one of our members, Pam Barroso, has gone through, on page 2, there's one portion called Healthy Communities, and it's all about local food. So basically we're talking about what is sustainable about our community. I've always been real proud of Monroeville because it's a compact suburb, and I believe there's a lot of stuff going on here that people don't know about. And so basically this is all about documenting that. This is a statewide program, and there are many municipalities in the Western Pennsylvania region that have already become certified as sustainable communities. So the 2 areas that we've been working on are Healthy Communities, which is on page 2, the second actually it's the first kind of shaded area, and then on page 4, Air Quality. Those are the 2 areas that we've been working on. So I just kind of came here to stand here and mention it, just to put it on everybody's radar. And if anybody in the room or that's watching is interested, Sustainable Monroeville meets this first Monday evening of the month, generally at 7 o'clock. You're all welcome to join us this coming June. Monday, June 1st, we're doing a potluck at 6 o'clock. So if you have any questions, we can be reached through Sustainable Monroeville at Gmail. We also have a website, sustainablemonroeville.com. And the Sustainable Pittsburgh has all of this detailed information right there on it. And when the time comes, you know, we're going to be certified as a sustainable community. I'm sure about that, so.
If I can just follow up with this with council, when we were at the Allegheny League of Municipalities conference just last month, and even last year, a group of municipalities were lauded on what were called banner communities. Now, this is a different criteria that has to be completed, but it's virtually the same as what you do to become a banner community, and there's different gradations of a banner community. There's a gold, silver, and I think a bronze. But this is virtually the same thing. It's very detailed, and a lot of work has to go into it in order to complete it.
And so I also wanted to publicly thank Pamela Brosso, who's been working beautifully on this, and I plan to send along a PowerPoint that she's done related to the 2 points that I mentioned here. I'll send it along to you, Tim, and you can forward it wherever. Sure. And also I wanted to mention another project of Sustainable Pittsburgh is the Green Workplace Challenge. So if any businesses in Monroeville are interested, they can become certified. I, for one, as a resident of Monroeville since 1993, really want to hear and see Monroeville in a different light than what's been going on recently in the news. And so I think that this can be a key to that. So if anybody has any questions, I'm here and I'm reachable. Thanks.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, you might have mentioned, but I was handing the papers out, the point system. What's the scale?
That's a really good question.
Like, how do they determine how many points does each thing get?
I think basically, and I don't quote me on this because I'm not really sure. I'm not the one that's been spearheading this. There's somebody else in the organization called Sustainable Monroeville that's been really more involved than I have. But my understanding is that, so for example, if you turn to the second page on local food, you know, 6D says a community produce garden or gardens is available. And if that is the case, you get 2 points. So we have the Monroeville Food Garden. I know that there are many churches and other things, other gardens in Monroeville. So as far as I understand, you just write it down and you get 2 points. It's not.
Okay, so 2 is the maximum, say, in that column.
Yeah. Local food has a total of 9, right? So if you add up the 2, the 3, the 2, and the 2,
Right.
Okay.
Local food is, you know, we've got the farmers market. We have people that get community-supported agriculture shares delivered, you know, in the municipality. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on that most people may not even know about.
Right.
That I think we could really.
Well, I'm just curious how we can get these numbers higher, because if we look through, there's some things that we may already have, you know,
No.
enacted.
You achieve these numbers.
You,
You don't, these aren't our numbers.
would the,
Yeah, no.
But the
no,
grand total-
Yeah, no,
the
this
grand
is-
total
this
is
is-
300.
Grand total is
This is a
300.
Can that go
template.
up? The-
This is a template that is provided by
I gotcha.
the organization.
300 is not our current score.
No, no.
300 is the maximum we
Well,
can get.
If
You know,
you
it might
did this
be, but we-
perfectly,
You'd
you would
get-
get 300
Okay,
points.
that makes sense.
Okay.
But I don't think you need 300 to be able to be a certified sustainable community. But again, don't quote me, but if you go to sustainablепittsburgh.com,
It'll have it all.
it'll have it. And there's also an intern at the organization that is very willing to help us and has been, you know, has met with Mr. Little and is right there. So we're excited about it.
And there are, I can help a little bit on this. There are levels to this. They're bronze, silver, gold, based on the amount of points you achieve by following this criteria. And they do actually send in, for lack of a better word, auditors. You write down what you have, and then they come in and they check it to make sure that that's what you have, and then, of course, that it's sustainable. And you can get a maximum of 300 points, and I don't know the exact points either. It's tiered. So you can be a silver member banner, you know, or a gold banner. That's how you do it.
So again, I'm not the one kind of doing the physical work for this, and if I was, I would probably call up the mall and tell them that they have a wonderful flat roof that could produce a lot of food, and why don't they just get to it? But I've been told that that's not necessarily the politically correct way to go, and so we'll just take a look at this paper, and we'll, you know, and I'd also think that we could produce all the food on everybody's lawn in Monroeville. But, you know, so that's why I'm just here to mention it.
Gotcha.
And then there's other people doing
Great.
the hard work, so thank you.
Thank
you.
you for all the information. Thank you.
Lynn, you want to come on up? State your name for the record.
Len Young, resident of Monroeville. And came here tonight really on behalf of not just myself, but a lot of motorcyclists in Monroeville and the Commonwealth and, you know, everywhere about. May is, of course, everybody remembers that nice winter we just had. A little cold. Well, now we have, looks like we got summer already. It was 85 degrees today. A lot of motorcycles are out these days. So we have this group I'm active with, the Beta Pennsylvania. We are sort of reinforcing people to look out for motorcycles. And I want to, ahead of time, thank the mayor for next Tuesday. He'll be reading a proclamation declaring May as Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month. I will tell you that the governor of Pennsylvania has done that, and I believe Tuesday, Rich Fitzgerald with Allegheny County did the same thing at their council meeting last Tuesday, a couple days ago. So really appreciate that, and we're really, you know, as an avid motorcyclist and a lot of other ones out there, we hope that everyone will think twice and save a life, as we like to say. Also, to that end, on Saturday I'll be obtaining a lot of yellow and black signs that say "Watch for Motorcycles." You may have seen some around the place last year. Tried to get some out. Our state representative, Joe Markosic's been very kind in letting me put one outside of his office there on Northern Pike for the last several years. So I'll be getting a quantity of these. Hopefully by Tuesday, might be able to work out some way that if somebody wants one, they're absolutely free. We paid for them anyway with our tax dollars. PennDOT produces them along with the Motorcycle Safety Program and Beta Pennsylvania. So hopefully we'll have these signs available that people want them. We'll be able to have them somewhere people can go get them.
Are you going to bring them to the meeting on Tuesday night? Is that what you're saying? So
I actually could.
and then
since
that
I'm
way, if
getting them
anyone's here
Saturday.
that would be interested, they could actually just grab them from you?
Fabulous idea.
And Len, you know what, you might want to just leave some here at the municipal building. We can leave them with the secretary.
Yeah,
up
if
there
that
as
would
well.
be
I mean, I don't know how many you're
consistent
getting,
with the
but,
rules and
you know,
regulations, I'd be happy to do that.
I'm sure that we can accommodate that. That should
Bring a few dozen at a time or some. If they run out, I can always bring some more. Great. Thank you very much, and happy spring.
Yes. Nicole, if you'll please come on up.
Got to fix the
It's the mic person. Don't touch the microphone.
Nobody touch the microphone.
You heard from the sky.
That's not the guy that
Thank
said
you.
it.
Hi, please state your name for the record.
Hello, good afternoon, evening. I'm Nicole Henline, I'm the director of the Monroeville Public Library. I just wanted to take a few minutes to thank you for your support of the library and to let you know a few of the things that are coming up. I'm going to give you a little packet here that has the calendar of events for May, and anyone watching from home can also access this directly from our website or stop in here at the municipal building or at the library to get the same calendar in print. And we have lots of programs. I won't go over all of them because we would be here for a long time. But one of the exciting programs we have coming up is the Spinosaurus Encounter, and we're actually having it at Gateway Middle School because it can hold up to 300 people of all ages. It's for all ages, so kids, families. It's a great experience from the Carnegie Science Museum. And they're going to come with this life-size Spinosaurus that has puppeteers, and they're going to talk about dinosaurs and paleontology, and it's going to be a great program on Saturday, June 6th. So please join us, and any dinosaur enthusiasts that you know, spread the word. We also have a book sale. We work on fundraisers year-round. We have a book sale for the spring starting tomorrow and running through Sunday. And so come by and grab some great reads for the summer and visit us anytime. I just wanted to give you that little bit of information, and I will pass out these calendars. And anytime you'd like to know what's going on at the library, please let me know.
What about the maker's room?
Makerspace. We are working on, we are hoping to have a makerspace. So we're looking into
Can you tell everybody
possibilities.
what a makerspace is?
A maker,
Make Maker's Mark the bourbon?
No, actually. It's a makerspace is a creative space. For the past 2 or 3 years, across the country, libraries have been moving in a direction where they're not only centers for consuming knowledge, but also centers for creating. So things such very technological, such as 3D printers, to things that are very basic, such as art supplies, where people can come in and create along a spectrum and just use their imaginations and be part of a community of imaginative, creative minds. And so we are actually doing a spring cleaning next week to make space for such a thing, and looking into grants and partnerships to bring in some equipment. We may start very basic, but we would like to grow it so that it is a very exciting, interactive space for our community. So that is a goal in the short-term future.
Where's the space going to be?
Right now, it's a periodicals room that has lots of newspapers and magazines that are now digitized that we do not need to keep physical copies of. So that's one of the reasons we're doing a spring cleaning. We're getting rid of some of these things that we have in digital format and can then use that space for a community space instead.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
George.
Thank you.
Please state your name for the record, sir.
Good evening, Mayor. Oh, my name is George Lapsevich. I live on 2497 Tilbrook Road in Monroeville. Good evening.
Good evening.
I have heard that there is going to be a 200-foot tire from Verizon placed almost right across the street from my residence. I have a few concerns. How is it construction trucks and everything going to go in and out of the working zone? And also, if the tower is less than 200 feet, there's supposed to be no lights on it because it's under 200 foot, it's 190 foot. I checked a few things, and right across at Cambridge Square, it's a flight plan for the Pittsburgh airport and also for the helicopters. Without lights, I don't know how they're even going to see this tower. Also, is there any cause for radiation or cancer from this microwave components? My wife is a cancer survivor, and I'm concerned about it, and also some of the residents around me are concerned about it. And will Monroeville make any tax money on this project, if any? Thank you.
One thing that we're going to have a conditional use hearing this evening on this development. So I would suggest that and there's going to be room for testimony for you. You'd be sworn in among other people who would be the applicant and any other residents. So I would suggest that you do that, be sworn in, and state your case at that time in 15 minutes, a half an hour, whenever that would occur.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, George. Robert? Please state your name for the record, if you would, sir, please.
My name is Robert Serafini. I'm a resident of Monroeville. I'm here tonight just to make one statement. May 19th is voting night, voting day, and I'd like everybody to just come out and vote. I know it's not much on the elections today, but I'd like to have all the people come out and vote. And we have people on the council, Dr. Griesbach, Mr. Duncan, and Mr. Johns, all running. And I think they're fantastic people, and I'd like to have them vote. And if you're of a different registration from what they are, you can still come up and vote as a write-in. And there's a lot of good people running for school council, too. And, you know, I just think everybody should have the decency and the respect of all those who gave us the right to vote, and I think we should go up and vote. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Robert. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave the floor open for any resident that would like to address council. Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting. And for the record, all members are here this evening, and we're going to open up to the Dan Cohen Law Group. If Dan, you'll come on up. And if you'll please sign in and state your name and your business for the record.
Thanks very much. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As the mayor said, my name is Dan Cohen. I'm with the Cohen Law Group. We've had the privilege in the past of working with the municipality of Monroeville in cable, telecom, and wireless issues. Those are the issues that our law firm works on exclusively. The reason that coming up this evening is to talk about a proposal that is before council with respect to wireless facilities. And I know that you have a full agenda, so I won't spend too much time on this, but there have been really two dramatic changes in wireless facilities over the last few years. One is in technology, and the other is in the law. On the technology side, whereas in the past, and I think we just heard a gentleman, it sounds like there's going to be a matter coming up later this evening on a cell tower. In the past, that was really the only wireless facility that a municipality would have to address one way or other through a conditional use process. Because of the increase in demand for wireless services, particularly internet services, wireless contractors, not so much the carriers like Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, but wireless contractors with names like Crown Castle or American Tower Company have been rolling out new facilities, including what are mini cell towers in the public rights of way. And those aren't so much for coverage purposes, but really to boost capacity, get more bars on your phone, if you will. And here in Pennsylvania, contractors have really started in eastern Pennsylvania and have moved west, so that now there are several municipalities here in western Pennsylvania that have been approached by these wireless contractors. What they have done, and this is kind of the game changer, if you will, in this area, is they've gone to the PUC and have received certificates of public convenience and necessity to give them utility status, which gives them access to the public rights of way. But it doesn't give them complete unfettered right to install mini cell towers wherever they want to if, and this is a big if the municipality has an ordinance that addresses these types of facilities. There are other new wireless facilities too, including what are called smart cells. There's cable Wi-Fi. There is the electric companies have come out with new wireless facilities for meter reading, things like that. Most likely, these kinds of facilities are going to be proposed for Monroeville, and the purpose of this project is just to amend its current wireless ordinance, its current cell tower ordinance, if you will, to address these changes in technology. The other thing is that there have been pretty significant changes in the law over the last few years. The Pennsylvania General Assembly passed the Wireless Broadband Co-Location Act at the end of 2012. The FCC has come out with two pretty important orders over the last couple of years. The municipality's current ordinance, as I said, definitely was a good ordinance for its time, but it doesn't address these new kinds of facilities, including mini cell towers in the rights of way, also known as DAS, or distributed antenna systems. It doesn't address recent changes in the law. It doesn't allow for the municipality to collect a fee for these facilities in the public rights of way, and you can do that because they're your rights of way. It has a weak co-location requirement, meaning that you can require these facilities to be put on existing towers rather than building new towers. So what we're proposing is to amend the municipality's current ordinance to address these changes, to kind of reflect the character of Monroeville, and to strike an appropriate balance between providing wireless services, which your residents certainly want, but at the same time protecting the municipality.
Joe, can you put that picture up?
Yes.
Thanks for reminding me of that. So
The first one.
yeah, these are just examples of the mini cell towers that I'm referring to. I don't know why that woman is smiling because she has a tower right in front of her house. But that's a classic DAS facility. That's another form of the same type of facility with several antennae on the pole. I think we might have had a couple of others as well. There you go. That's a DAS facility that's being worked on. As you can see, they can be pretty tall. They can be 25 to 40 feet high and somewhat obtrusive. So you can't prohibit these things or have the effect of prohibiting them, but you can decide on the places that make sense, particularly primary roads, for example, as opposed to secondary or tertiary roads. Where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, is in residential subdivisions where all other utilities are underground. So those kinds of facilities really can be controlled more if you have an ordinance that addresses them.
Dan, can the municipality control the type of cell tower that they put up? For example, I saw in the one of them, it was behind the woman. It wasn't as tall and it wasn't as
yeah, arrayed. Yeah.
Right. So, can the municipality control that, or does the municipality have to put up these dinosaurs that are huge and?
There are definitely certain design restrictions that you can include. You have to be careful in doing it. Again, you can't prohibit all facilities, but there, in the ordinance that we'll recommend to you, it includes design specifications, absolutely. And notice on the tower that we saw earlier, it's the cylinder on the top that is the antenna, right? And I think you probably would prefer to have those put on existing utility poles as opposed to new towers.
No, it needs to back up.
The top.
Well, the top
Yeah.
is, isn't it? That little black.
Yeah, maybe if you can go back to the
But
first
that
one.
first one really shows it.
Yeah.
With a lady.
First one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
No,
No,
that
right
one.
There you go.
Yeah.
That one.
And it's at the very top
That
of
black
the,
cylindrical.
Yes.
It's like a transformer.
Okay.
right,
That one, that's the one.
yeah.
Go back to the first one, Joe.
So we could ask, I mean, if they're going to be able to do it, you could specify that you want this kind with the black cylinder versus that monster thing with the dish plates hanging off of
You
it.
can include some design regulations. You certainly would be able to have a
aesthetics.
conversation with them about it. And probably most important is to be able to say, these are the areas in our community where these make sense. Not right in front of that woman's house, but
She's happy about it, but
yeah, I don't know why.
I don't think our
said-
residents would be happy if one popped up in front of their homes.
Correct, exactly.
Sir, they're not going to tell us where their signals are weakest and demand that they put towers in those areas?
Well, let me give you a great question. In a municipality in Bucks County, for example, a company called American Tower Company came in and said, we want to put 20 of these in these specific places. The municipality didn't have an ordinance that addressed those, so this kind of occurred more as a settlement than as a regulatory matter. But after talking to the company and saying, no, we really want them here, not there, they actually were able to re-engineer their project so that they took the poles out of the most vulnerable areas, particularly where there are no utilities underground, and were able to put in a different type of wireless facility, yes.
But as it stands now, with our current ordinance, now that this is considered a utility, a necessity,
Yes.
they really didn't have to do that. They could, in fact, just
Right, so
put it wherever they choose.
that's right. So if one of these companies were to come to Monroeville tomorrow, you would have no ability to regulate them at all. That's right, because it's just not included in your current ordinance.
Dan, I got a question. You said you named one company. Can more than one company go into any particular area?
They can.
And then can you limit the, what if you get 5 different companies, they want to put 100 of them up? Can you limit the number?
Well, that's why a co-location requirement makes sense, right? That says if you come into Monroeville and you want to put a wireless facility here, you have to prove to us that you can't co-locate on another existing tower before you install a new tower. And as your ordinance, I don't want to be too critical of your ordinance, it certainly addresses that, but it doesn't do it in a strong way.
No, we get that.
Yeah.
I get it anyway. Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Council, any other questions for him?
So what this is all, just a matter of changing our ordinance, correct?
That's correct.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. So I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks very much.
Chuck, Deb, come on up. Please state your name for the record. You don't have to sign in. You already did.
Good evening. My name is Chuck Somerville. I've lived here since 1961. And I'm here representing the Monroeville Jazz Festival. I'm one of the founders and the president for the past 12 years. We certainly want to thank the Monroeville Council and everybody in the audience for their support over the past 12 years for the Monroeville Jazz Festival. And it has been a huge success, especially over the last couple of years. We've had over 1,000 people there each year, and the demand is for us to bring back a 13th. Tim Little was there last year, and he had nothing but praise for the festival. So we certainly appreciate his support. And I know I have the support of all the councilmen because I think I know all you personally in one form or another. So this year, the festival is coming up, and I'd like to introduce Debbie Isaac, who is our new Director of Development.
Thank you, Chuck. Members of council, Mr. Mayor, Municipal Manager, and everyone who is listening in tonight. As Chuck mentioned, this is lucky year 13 for us, and Monroeville certainly should be very proud of all of the wonderful assets that it has. And the residents, really should be very fortunate to be able to take advantage of some of the things that we have to offer here in our community, including wonderful municipal parks where the Jazz Festival has been home to over at Tall Trees Amphitheater. As a 501c3, we are structured as a nonprofit organization. And so in order to make an event like this, which is free to our residents, happen, we really make a reach out to our community, to our businesses, both local and regional, to help with some support to make this, this kind of an event happen. So we are here tonight just to make everyone aware that there are sponsorships that are available that we would like to share with you in terms of, and Chuck, if I could hand this to you. We have one for each of the folks here on council. This is a wonderful event. Again, it's free to the community. Chuck, we didn't mention the date. It's Saturday, August 22nd from 6 to 9. We have both national artists as well as local artists that will be here performing. And yeah, we would really like to see if there is anybody who could help with the support of this. We're very fortunate that Dollar Bank and both UPMC have stepped up once again to act as part of our presenting sponsors for the festival. And there are a huge number of sponsorships that are available, for starting at $200, and moving on up. So each level has marketing opportunities. And if anybody is listening and is interested, we ask that they go to our website, monroevillejazz.org, or they could certainly email me directly, and I would be happy to talk with them. I could be reached at diszuk, D-I-S-Z-A-U-K, at verizon.net. And, we say jazz is born in America and alive in Monroeville, and we thank you, and, let's bring a lot more positive to Monroeville. Thank you.
Any questions or comments?
No, but I
That
can
was
just
great.
tell you.
Thank you.
No,
No.
just, Chuck, you do a great job, and
Yeah.
now Debbie, you're involved, so that's good too. But if council's okay, maybe we can put something on our website to advertise that as well. Tim, would you be okay with that?
Yeah, we have that on our website,
Yeah.
I believe.
Right.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure, so.
Yeah, if we could, access the public channel to, make sure as we get closer, just so that the residents know that it's a free concert. It's 6 to 9, pack your picnic baskets, we'll have some food concessions over there. It's a great way to kind of end up summer. I know we're just starting, we're talking about the end, but this does take a lot of
Yeah, we want to
planning.
enjoy summer first.
I know, but this kind of an event doesn't just happen.
Right.
It really does take a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of community resources to help us make that all happen.
Debbie, I understand you can bring your own wine to these things.
I don't know about that. I would not
We-
comment.
No one's going to question you.
I wouldn't comment, but we will have some great food there, and
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Tim, we will put that up on TV 15 as well, maybe starting
You
in
mean the whole
June?
jazz festival? Were you talking
Yeah, we're going to
about?
have it played on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
can
yeah, no
see-
question
But
about
we
it, yeah.
could,
Put some kind of
we'll make that
announcement.
available as
Yeah.
we get closer.
So, yeah.
We
And again-
also go through Mark Shiflow for the temporary sign permit, because we have two huge banners at the corner of 22 and 48.
Okay.
In that little park.
Do you have your full lineup yet?
Pardon?
Do you have your lineup yet? Your full lineup?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Our lineup, our artists are, well, Chuck, why don't you tell them, because you're more.
Yeah, our local artist this year is a subset of the Pittsburgh Jazz Orchestra called the Firm Roots Group. They're a sextet. And for our national group, we're bringing in Lisa Farrar from Berkeley, California, along with Houston Person from New York, and they're also a sextet. So lots of good jazz that evening
Yeah,
for those who are
great.
interested.
It's great music, great music.
Thanks.
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Council, now we'll move over to our proposed agenda items. And before we get moving into that, council conducted an executive session for personnel and litigation reasons prior to tonight's Citizens Night meeting, beginning at 6 p.m., and it ended at 6:50 p.m. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at the May 12th, 2015 council meeting. Moving over to the minutes. If you'll look at the Citizens Night meeting of April 8th, 2015, council work session of April 8th, 2015, and their regular council meeting of April 14th, 2015. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, we'll move over to our reports of our tax collections. Once again, any questions, comments, additions, or corrections, council? Seeing none, we'll move over to our list of bills and budget transfers. Payroll report. Any questions? Any corrections? How about the list of bills and budget transfers? We'll start off with you, Linda.
No questions.
No questions, Mayor?
Ron?
None.
Nothing, sir.
Paul?
No, sir.
Steve?
Nothing.
And
No, thank you.
And we'll move over to the new business, and Tim, if you will, please.
Okay, under
Turn it
new,
over to you to run the meeting now, Bruce.
okay, our first item is MC Development Incorporated, Verizon Wireless. The applicant is requesting a conditional use approval to install a 190-foot tall freestanding commercial communication tower with a 9-foot lightning rod, a 339-foot square foot equipment room, a 240-foot future lease area, and associated site amenities. The leased area and easement is located within parcel 858G187, owned by MC Development, Inc., and is located at 2455 Mosside Boulevard in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District. And this is a conditional use public hearing.
Mr. Dice is going to run it, and anybody's going to testify, please stand up, raise your right hand, we'll swear you in. You swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay.
Okay,
Mr. Dice.
this is the date and time set for the public hearing requirement under the MP Municipalities Planning Code for a conditional use. I note that there is also a companion site plan that will be addressed. You can maybe touch on that as well. Mr. Lepich had given a summary of his concerns. If your counsel?
Yes, I am.
And your name, sir?
Mark Aletto. I provided a sheet with the different names and submittals for this conditional use.
Did you sign in?
I did.
You want to spell your last name?
Sure. Mark, Aletto.
And you heard Mr. Lepich's testimony, right?
Yes.
Do you have a problem in incorporating his, rather than having to have him come back up and repeat everything again? Sharon's taken it down.
No problem.
And we incorporate that into the record, so all of Mr. Lepich's questions have been spread in the record.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, George, unless you want to add anything, the testimony that you've already given is going to be part of this record, okay? Okay. Do you want to give us a presentation of sorts of what it is you propose to do?
Yes, thank you. As I mentioned, I provided a sheet to each member, and it lists the different submittals that were made for the conditional use application and the site plan application. And below it is just a list of characters. My name is Mark Aletto. I'm here on behalf of Verizon Wireless. With me tonight is Dave Hennon. He was the site acquisition for this proposal, and the RF engineer Nathan Mishler, who is an employee of Verizon. This location is 2455 Mosside Boulevard. It's pretty much a vacant piece of land.
Sir, if you can slide that map up a little bit.
Yeah, take a look over. Yeah, you
Thank
see.
you.
There you go.
Okay, great.
Continue.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
What is being proposed is a 190-foot, three-leg lattice cellular tower with a 9-foot lightning rod on top of it. So for a total height of 199 feet. This site, again, is off of Mosside Boulevard. This is Mosside Boulevard. There is an existing dirt road that accesses an existing oil and pump well on the property. The proposal is to utilize the existing driveway, which is highlighted in green on this map, to the proposed facility, which is identified on the map here. The orange area outlines the fence that would be proposed. The triangular area highlighted in yellow represents the tower that we propose. Next to it, the rectangular shape, is the equipment building. And the other rectangular shape highlighted in yellow represents a future equipment building for any potential future co-location on the tower.
What, excuse me.
Yes.
What is the elevation where the tower is going to be built from the road?
The topo elevation is about, I believe, about 1130. I'm not sure if I see a topo line on the bottom, which is 1020.
Is this site across from that Comptech or Computech facility?
Yes.
Okay. There's a dirt road there that I see.
That's correct. That's the
From
existing.
time to time. And,
okay.
So the elevation would add to the 199 feet, is that correct?
Yes.
I mean, it isn't going to be on the lower part, it's going to be higher. It could be 20, 30 feet.
Could be.
So it's going to be over 200 feet.
Correct.
Okay, could be 239.
But I don't know if there's a higher elevation beyond this location.
Okay. I just want to get that on the record.
That's fine. any review by any of the governmental agencies, they'll look at the total height at that particular location, whether it's FCC, FAA, all of those, in determining whether there's any impact on air rights and so forth.
As George stated, is there an ordinance if it's over 200 foot that, or not an ordinance, but
yes, there is a requirement. If it is over 200, it would require some type of lighting, beacon.
I mean, it's just odd that it's 199 feet.
Well, we're doing that basically to comply with your ordinance. Any cellular tower, the higher up, the better, because you get a wider propagation range from it. So for 20 years, we've always tried to comply with the ordinance because we're trying to work within what the community feels is a particular height of a tower. There are communities where we have 250, 300, and so forth.
Mr. Leto.
With the hospital there and the flight path for the emergency helicopters.
Yes.
Have you taken that into consideration, how they travel west or south to take patients or to provide more help?
Yes, that's all considered. Part of the criteria or the submittal that was presented for the conditional use will address that, but all of those items have been addressed. There's very extensive studies in every regard to your ordinance and what they typically do at every location. Verizon Wireless, AT&T, they're very big organizations, and they do a full complement of studies and reviews. And over the years, they obviously, more studies and reviews have been added over time.
And they can upgrade them or...
Right, or just to study more issues have come about. I started doing work for Verizon in 1992, and we've seen a lot more requirements, either at the local level, regional, or federal level, in regards to their analysis whether a particular site is needed, and if so, is there any impact, environmental impact, or any type of adverse impact to the community, to the network systems.
So you're going to wait to determine if lights are needed there for the aircraft that moves in that area?
Well, it's already been determined that lighting is not necessary.
Okay.
And the RF engineer can briefly mention there are different levels of analysis to determine whether you even need a FAA review, and they do an airspace and airways study analysis to determine what next step, kind of like a phase 1, do you need to take it to the phase 2 level, and it was determined that there are no notices needed in this particular location based on that 199 high tower, in consideration of the different facilities utilizing helicopters, airplanes, and so forth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Leto.
Yes.
I just want to be oriented a little bit better. I'm not sure if this would be for you, maybe our employees, since they're local guys. So off of Mosside on the map, is the entry point that's past Macbeth?
If you
and
would,
before Cambridge Square entrance?
If you would exit Cambridge Square, turn right out of Cambridge Square, head south on 48.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 600 feet south. There's an existing aggregate road that goes to the oil well, and that would be the entrance. So if you would then pass that, and about another 500 feet on your left side would be Compunetics.
How far off the road is this tower proposed to be?
About 380 feet.
Back off
of Mosside Boulevard.
Off of Mosside.
And do we have I don't know if the map shows it or not, does that map show Tilbrook on the back side of where the tower location is?
No, Tilbrook would be a good distance away.
Okay.
Probably the most closest point would be the parking lot to Cambridge Square, but it's still set back enough from that point.
And right now, there's nothing on that property. Is it just an open field?
It is. It's just the oil well that's on the current property.
I have an aerial. I'm not sure if that'll help.
That would help.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I'm not sure if we can get that on the camera or if that's something you could just pass out.
So there's no residents
No.
in the area, correct?
The closest residence would be Cambridge Square Apartments.
And do we know how far that is?
It is on the drawing.
Like, what's the distance as the crow flies from the tower to the closest residence?
Well, the setback, I'll go through the setbacks, and then maybe Dave can answer that. Moss Side Boulevard, these setback lines are about 380 feet to, where is the north? Well, trying to look for the north arrow. So this would be to the east, is 231 feet. And then to answer your question, from the tower to that property line is 200 feet. And then I show the property behind that being owned by Cambridge Square's associates. I'm not sure how close, though,
Their closest building is.
the building is to that property line. And I do not have an aerial, I don't believe.
There won't be any lights on the tower, so it wouldn't affect any of the apartment tenants' vision or drivers coming down Moss Side, anything like that, right?
If there were a light?
No, but there's not going to be anything like that could affect drivers or residents?
Correct. There is no lighting proposed, nor is one required.
Okay.
Will Verizon improve their driveway into there?
They will.
How will they improve it?
Gravel. Right. Yes, they'll improve it with gravel.
Just gravel?
Yes.
Now, the driveway, is that what's being referred to as the easement?
Yes, that would be the access easement.
Any other questions, council?
Okay, is there anything else? Are you finished, or you still?
No, I'd like to just run through the criteria in case there are if that spurs additional questions, and we're available to answer those as well. And it might answer some of the questions you have or will have. The conditional use criteria, I'm just going to run through it. I'll do it quickly. The first subsection talks about 1 additional foot of setback for each feet of height in tower above the code setback of 45 feet. Essentially, if we go through the calculation, we need 1 for 1, so we need to be back at least 199 feet, which, as I indicated earlier, we have. We are at least that. The second requirement is we need to show whether, as mentioned before, if there are other sites available for co-location or installing antennas on. And I can tell you that's always the first option because it's much cheaper and much easier for approval through municipalities. They have, Verizon and all the carriers have their own radio frequency engineering departments, and that's all they do, is to address the gaps and deficiencies in coverage in their network system. That part of the FCC license, the carriers need to maintain continuous coverage throughout their licensed area. And so that's their function. And they, at this site as well as any other site, the first option is always to look around buildings, existing towers, water towers, and so forth. So I'm going to have Dave Hennon and Nathan Mishler just briefly go through that process, and then we'll move on quickly.
My name is Dave Heenan, Hennon, and I was the site acquisition person responsible for finding a site for Verizon.
You can use the center mic, sir.
Okay. My name is Nate Mishler, M-I-S-C-H-L-E-R, and I'm the RF engineer with Verizon Wireless.
So when we started this process, Verizon Wireless initiates what they call a search ring. They know they have coverage need in the area, and send me out to check it out. The first thing that we look at is tall buildings, light structures, poles, existing towers, and we present that back to Verizon for their analysis. For this particular case, that's how we came to this property and the need.
And just one further point on that, the ordinance requires us to look just to cellular towers, but we always look beyond that, whether it's water tower buildings and so forth, for co-location.
If you put it on a building or a water tower, do you have to pay somebody to be able to do that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I would just like to show this page. This is a map of existing Verizon wireless network coverage. So yellow is good coverage. That's the most bars in your cell phone. That's inside a Walmart or a Lowe's. You're doing your shopping. You're driving around day to day. Blue is what we call residential in-building, where you can expect your phone to work inside your house. You'll receive phone calls. You can use data, Facebook, Netflix, that sort of service. Red is the worst of the coverage. It's probably only going to work outside. You might see 1, maybe 2 bars in your cell phone. And the white is no coverage at all, so you can expect no service, wouldn't receive calls, you might drop a call. So the center, this green dot in the center is the proposed site on Mosside Boulevard that I ended up approving. As you can see, it's pretty much in the center of our coverage need. That's where it's the most red. There's a couple pockets of white. So it's where Verizon Wireless has decided that we need to address the lack of coverage here. Are there any questions with this page? I would just like to show a model propagation of, I don't know if I can show this top and bottom like that. But this is the yellow, the good coverage that this site would introduce to the area. So we've filled in almost all of the white. We've eliminated a lot of the red in the area. You know, this is a lot of residential down here. If we were to proceed with this site and activate it, it would significantly improve the coverage to residents, particularly to the southeast here.
Is this only for cell phone usage or for
It is
Verizon?
Verizon wireless cell phones. If you buy an iPad, any sort of tablet, or the laptop,
about your home internet?
air cards, not home internet.
Okay.
It's strictly the Verizon wireless 4G service.
Smart TV?
4G.
Smart TVs?
Strictly Verizon wireless phones, tablets, and air cards you can plug into your laptop. It won't improve TV or landline phones. Right.
So the map you have there, so from the before and after.
Correct.
Do you have a radius or a diameter? How much of an area that would positively affect, as far as what you're saying, would better coverage? And do we know how many households, how many properties would positively benefit from this as far as getting better cell phone service?
Absolutely. This new site, as proposed, would introduce coverage for 7,125 residents, according to the 2010 census.
Okay.
Any other questions, Council?
I kind of want to ask one. George asked a question earlier, and it sparked my interest. I'm going to try to get this right. George, you were talking about your wife, right? Is there going to be any negative effects?
Absolutely not. The wattage coming out of these antennas is less than a light bulb. It's the transmitters are 40 watts each. Compare that to a 60-watt light bulb in your kitchen ceiling, you know? So it's relatively low power for what you get. The coverage that you get is a couple square miles. And they're also, it's 200 feet in the air, so by the time this signal hits the ground, it's fractions of a percentage of a watt. So it's extraordinarily low power compared to FM radio, which is, you know, kilowatts. So the cell phone signal is very low power.
What type of power supplies the cell tower?
Well, it's fed with its own dedicated power from the power company. We also
Okay, you have a generator. You're not using the generator.
There would be a backup generator and backup batteries in the instance that power did go out.
Yeah.
Chipmunks.
Sorry, I looked.
I was thinking
the treadmill. Once a week, I got to go hit the treadmill and power the site back up.
Is there any fees associated for the municipality to the tower as Mr.
Yeah,
Bass?
if I can answer that question 1 second, and just one statement to add to what Nathan had mentioned. It's a subject that we've dealt with since 1992, and then in 1996, the federal government had conducted, or through outside sources, had conducted numerous health studies and determined in 1996 that the municipalities cannot deny a cellular tower based on negative health and safety issues being emanated from that. And I only mention that so it's on record, but so most people aren't aware of that those issues had been extensively studied and debated and litigated early on, mid-1990s.
There's actually a statute, I think.
It is. It's called the Telecommunications Act of 1996, which precludes a municipality from denying a cellular tower based on the issue that it could cause health and safety issues. But with that all said, I think his point strikes home more than anything, because we all have more than 40-watt bulbs in our
Okay,
house.
is there anything else you want to add to your presentation?
Yes.
No, I need an answer to my question, please.
Well, I don't know if the township has a direct mercantile tax to the sublessees, but how they typically benefit is payments are made to the landlord. The landlord needs to pay local income taxes on that.
So you're leasing or renting the property?
Yeah, and then there'll be real estate taxes on top of that.
To answer your question, Linda, yes, we will.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Very good. The next criteria is that we need to demonstrate that professional engineers at all aspects have conducted the proper studies in order to make this a safe installation. So, very quickly, there was a geotech report prepared. It was 19 pages, and they looked at the soils, the bore samples, and determined that the site is capable of supporting the tower as proposed. And these are all engineering studies based on the existing soils conditions. Then, regarding the tower itself, is it safe? Can it carry the wind loads and snow loads and so forth? Sabre Industries, and if you look on the top of the page I handed out, these are just submittals that were made. Sabre Industry Towers and Pools, they design and certify all the towers before they're built. But this has been done thousands of times over across the country. There was a Phase 1 report that was prepared. Again, no evidence of recognized environmental conditions, so there was no action necessary no additional actions necessary. The next criteria is there'll be an annual inspection with a certified report back to the township with the fees to certify that the tower is still structurally sound. Obviously, we'll agree to that. The next one was the requirement of an environmental impact statement relative to the tower and equipment that would have on the impact. An environmental impact statement was prepared. It's 117 pages submitted to the township. It basically covers everything. The considerations are land use, soil topography, geology, vegetation, wildlife, architectural, historical issues, and the report says that there is no adverse impact on the environment as a result of the proposed tower. In addition to that, there's a 216-page NEPA review, which is the National Environmental Policy Act, and that covers everything from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, archaeological and historical resources, SHPO, which is State Historic Preservation, Indian religious sites, FEMA, which is the 100-year plan, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. All of those issues were studied, and again, there was no negative findings as to those items. The next criteria is the finish needs to reduce the visibility, and the tower shall not have strobe lights or any illumination unless required by the FAA. It's not required with the proposed height. The finish will be the standard galvanized look. Aesthetically, it's going to be in the middle of the heavy vegetation, which is, I think, basically tall trees. So it would be in there, so there'll be a natural buffer to conceal most of the tower. The next criteria is that a 10-foot chain link fence with 3-foot barbed wire will be installed around the compound, which we have on our plans, which was identified earlier in orange. An anti-climbing device, which will be installed. The site would be restricted and locked. We would comply with the fire department's locks program, and there'll be security on the facility. The last item, if this tower is abandoned or not in use for 1 year, it'll be removed. We agreed to that, but that's been Verizon's policy for at least 25 years. They wouldn't want a structure there that has no use to them, and they would just terminate the lease.
One quick question. How often will the site be serviced?
Is it typically once a month, maybe?
Monthly, you would see somebody up there. It would be somebody in a typical SUV is what they drive, just to go up to check out the site, make sure everything is in order.
Right.
They know what's in order coming from their knock, but they just go up and do a visual inspection.
Now, let's say someone would, let's say, try to climb the fence or something like that. Do you have a alarm system to detect something like that?
Verizon has an alarm system on their door to their equipment, so anytime that door is open, they know who is there. I punch in a code if I get in there.
And you have a camera there? Is there a camera there too?
There's not a camera there, it's just a system set up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything further?
No.
Okay, let's just clear up the record now. You've made all these submittals to the municipality. We'll make all of those part of this record as you've submitted them. In addition, we'll make the cover sheet an exhibit which outlines the various exhibits that you referred to, as well as the individuals that are playing a role in the presentation. You have nothing else to?
We do not,
okay.
Unless there are questions.
Well, then we're going to take that. We're going to take that up next. Is there anybody? And I think George, you had another question.
Yeah, I got one more.
Why don't you come on up? Okay, take your time. He's coming first. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
To the microphone.
The entry, you're going to...
George, microphone. Just kind of address us, and then he can answer.
State your name for the record again.
Yes, my name is George Lapstridge, Tilbrook Road, Monroeville. The entryway you're using for your construction site, you're going to put gravel down?
Yes.
Okay, I know that road because my boy used to ride his dirt bike on that road. Some areas in that road is like a ski slope. I mean, when it rains heavy, that road, even with stone on it, it's going to be washed out, in my opinion. Are you going to be using Tilbrook Road then, if you can't get in that site with that site?
No, we'll be using this site. And to be honest with you, I've worked on sites on the top of a mountain in West Virginia. But this site really won't pose any issues for the construction is a very short period of time, and it's you might be able to answer that, but it's not a lot of heavy equipment that needs to go.
Yeah, how long is it going to take?
Once they start the tower, I mean,
You have to come on to the
microphone.
Just talk in the middle.
once they start the construction of the tower, I mean, they would be there for a month. The crane would be the biggest thing. The tower will come in sections. They're approximately 20 to 25-foot sections. Once they're there, that's what I said, the traffic would be minimum SUV-type traffic monthly.
So about a month for construction.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Please state your name again for the record.
Alyssa Beck, 106 Trotwood Drive. And I just wanted to make sure I was sworn in, because I don't know if I was or not.
Why don't you raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. So I'm a little bit confused. So there are two questions here. One is if we're rewriting an ordinance, and the other is if this tower can be here? Are there two different things going on?
There's two different things going on.
Okay, and those are both going to be voted on in the next meeting?
No, I shouldn't say that. These two things are mutually exclusive of each other. They don't have anything to do with one another. This project will be ripe to be voted on Tuesday.
This project?
This project.
Okay, so.
As to the presentation and Dan Cohen, I don't know whether council is ready to act on that. It might not be this Tuesday, it might be a month from now.
Well, Mr. Dice, could we, even if we wanted to, would we be able to do that with the advertising requirements? So even if we wanted to go ahead and move on changing the ordinance, would we be able to do that between now and Tuesday?
Well, you're talking about writing the ordinance, you're not talking about advertising it, you're not talking about publishing it for purposes of enactment. I think you, on Tuesday, could authorize the drafting of an ordinance pursuant to what Mr. Cohen indicated to you tonight.
Right, but we just, from Mrs. Beck, maybe to answer her question, we wouldn't be able to make a new ordinance official on Tuesday.
Oh, no, that couldn't happen.
Just so.
And that ordinance doesn't cover that kind of tower.
Correct.
That's correct.
It's a whole different type of technology.
So this is the older technology you're talking about?
Well, there are just two different types
I see.
regarding wireless communication. It's what was referred to earlier would be multiple small antennas throughout a community, and so it's a whole different technology, a whole different.
We haven't
type of
seen that
equipment.
type of development
No.
in the West.
Yeah.
Where it is right now is in the east.
Right.
Mr. Cohen's talking about.
The east of?
Eastern Pennsylvania.
PA.
Okay.
Yeah. all of
And probably
Pennsylvania.
more in the New England area where the construction is much more dense.
Okay, and I guess I have the question for both issues, but I have a lot of empathy for this gentleman over here and his wife regarding cancer, and I haven't really done much. I haven't done research about it, and I'm here right at the podium with my cell phone, just in case I forget what I want to say. And I think that I live within that area. But I would like to see some of the evidence that shows that cell phone towers 200 feet from a residence is okay. And I mean,
You could probably go online, and there's numerous studies regarding that. But however, most of those studies prompted the Telecommunications Act of 1996 to determine that there is not a health.
well, and I understand, and
Yeah.
that's almost 10 years ago, so that's a long time.
Right.
And I also know that 10 years ago, cell phones themselves were thought to be safe, but if you read the book Disconnect, or you know about some of the people that are doing research about cell phones next to your ear, I mean, I won't put one next to my ear anymore, because of brain cancer concerns. So citing something that's 10 years old regarding new technology concerns me. But I am in that region, so you've determined that we need more
Yes.
power because people are
Well, not
blinking
new
out.
power, but coverage.
More coverage.
Yeah, I would imagine the technology has increased since 1996 to probably there's less power usage for the technology.
Well, this one has 4 times more radiation than a flip phone, so it went in the opposite direction. But I just wanted to kind of put that on the record, and I'd be interested in any information that council has or others. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to offer any testimony on this matter? Does the staff have anything else to say?
I do not.
Has this been to the planning commission?
It has.
And what did they do?
They had recommended approval with conditions.
And you've seen the conditions?
Yes.
And you're prepared to agree to those conditions?
Yes, we in fact included them under the drawing.
Okay. Board have any other questions?
No.
Hearing none, then we'll close the testimony on the conditional use, and for that matter, the site plan, because that's all part of the presentation.
Right, we pretty much went through the site plan. Thank you very much.
Okay, item number 2 is as Mr. Dice mentioned, is for Tuesday night, his application requesting a site plan approval for the same that the conditional use hearing just occurred. Number 3 is the estate of Camellia Nafa, if that's the way you pronounce it, care of Gary Bouchard, Monroeville, Sky Zone LLP. Its application requesting final subdivision approval for the consolidation of parcel 1106N220 and parcel 1106N279 to create parcel A totaling 10.893 acres. The property is located at the end of Levin Way in the C2 Business Commercial District. And also number 4 is the same item. It's the applicant is requesting a site plan approval to construct a 23,575 square foot structure and associated site amenities. The property is located at the end of Levin Way in the C2 Business Zoning District. Paul, do you want to just give an overview of what this actually is, the Sky Zone, just so council and the public knows?
Good evening. The first application is a subdivision. This was the result of the Levin Furniture development that took place back in the early 90s. This is Elliott Road as it approaches Route 22. In this area here is the Levin Furniture. As part of that, there was 2 more parcels that were established. The Sky Zone development is going to combine these 2 together to create a single parcel and construct a 23,575 square foot building for Sky Zone. So it is at the very tip of the cul-de-sac. So if you ever driven back or into that cul-de-sac, that's where the entryway is at.
Any questions, council?
The entryway is behind Levin.
That's correct. If you turn onto Levin Way and travel all the way to the cul-de-sac, this is the tip of the cul-de-sac. That'll be the access point.
Got it.
No issues in your word there, Paul?
No, everything seemed to be taken care of.
And the planning commission reviewed this?
Yes, they reviewed it and recommended approval with conditions.
Okay, the applicant will be here on Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
Nick?
Paul, and Elliott Road is being upgraded with the Sheets construction, is that correct?
That's correct.
And will that continue to that entry point? Is it going to be widened to the entry point of Levin Way?
It will be widened to the entry point of Sheets. Now, there's a small distance from the entryway to Sheets to Levin Way, so there'll be a small area that is not improved.
Okay.
Any other questions, council? Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, item 5 and 6 are the 15-2 sub J.C. Bard Development LLC, CVS Pharmacy and Retail. Applicant is requesting final subdivision approval for the consolidation of parcel 1242N96 and parcel 1242N106 and parcel 1242N112 to create a new parcel totaling 1.34 acres. The property is located at the intersection of Business Route 286 and Old Frankstown Road in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District. And item number 6 is the same limited liability company. Applicants requesting a site plan approval to permit construction of 11,945 square foot retail store drive-through pharmacy with associated site amenities. Proposed development is located at the intersection of Business Route 286, Old Frankstown Road, Allegheny County. I'll skip the lot and block numbers in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District.
If you'll both sign in if you're going to provide testimony, please state your name for the record.
There's no public hearing here. Conditional use public hearing has already occurred. This is just for the site plan approval and final subdivision.
Good evening, and my name is Sean Gallagher with Buchanan Ingersoll Rooney, and I represent the applicant, and with me is Don Haltberg, who is with the Eads Group, who's the consulting engineer. This is, I believe, the 3rd time we've been before council, so I believe everybody is familiar with our project. We have been given a very ambitious timeline to get approval so we can construct a new CVS. We've received zoning approval, variance approval, conditional use approval, and now we're requesting site plan and land development approval. We have this week received a review letter, and we believe everything is in order. So I don't know if council has.
Any questions, council, on these items?
Yes, I have a question, actually, with that pic. Joe, if you could put that picture back up of the plaza with the golden goblet. So is the building, and once again, maybe our employees could answer this, where is the CVS building starting on that parcel?
What you see there in that picture will be raised. Nothing will be left.
Correct.
So the Remax building will be the last structure left on that side of 286.
Right, but I mean, is the CVS going to be where that plaza is, or is it going to be closer to, I guess that's Corsetti Chiropractic, or?
Dawn, you might be able to get that on your,
Yeah, on,
with your existing conditions drawing.
well, here's the subdivision showing, let me get them all oriented the same direction, yeah. So, here's the strip mall that was just up on the picture. Here's the adjacent parking lot. This building will be raised, and keeping in mind this property line right here, puts you, here's that same property
Okay.
line.
Okay.
There'll be the back driveway and then the building.
Very good. Thank you.
I have a question as far as the coming out of the CVS onto Route 286.
Yes.
You had stated, if I'm not mistaken, that you were going to have the trucks coming out and making a left.
That's correct. Or right. I'm not saying the truck will always make a left. In fact, in this case, we show the truck movement making the left. The truck probably, in most cases, is going to want to go back to the turnpike, and in most cases is going to want to go right. Okay. But I can't sit here and tell you what that driver's next stop is going to be. So
Okay, so if we don't want to make a left out of there, is that something you'd be willing to consider due to the proximity to the light and the crossing of 286 with the tractor trailer? A right-hand turn out of there only?
Two issues there. Number one, you got to remember this truck is once a week. It's a WB67 once a
That's
week.
initially, is that correct?
Pardon me?
As the business improves, the truck?
The CVSs have been here for years, and that's all they deliver is once a week. That's their system of delivery. And they bring the largest trucks, so they only have to come once a
Well, they're
week.
53 feet, correct?
Pardon me?
They're 53 feet.
55, actually.
Well, I was looking at your existing CVS that's on Route 22, and that, they can only make a right out of there or come around the back side. They cannot make a left out of there and go up towards the light. So I'm kind of
They go east.
visualizing this in the same fashion as your existing CVS.
I'm not familiar with that particular site, but we have plenty of room to make that left out, and CVS is going to want to make that left. I'm going to want to have that against ability. that
because of the traffic hazard. It's not just your truck. If it can make the left, anything that enters the lot can make the left, and it's going to be a danger. A, the proximity to that light, and B, oncoming traffic on 286. I know the state's improving the highway. God, I hope it does its job. But making a left out of there so close and so proximate to a traffic signal.
And especially it's a four-way. I mean, that's a big intersection.
This is a state road, and it meets the state PennDOT rules and regulations of a left turn. We've already been before PennDOT, and they approved this.
Yeah, but I understand PennDOT will go along with us if we recommend that there's no left turn. I'm under the impression that that'll
I can't
happen.
understand why they wouldn't tell you to go out onto Old Frankstown and go to the traffic signal.
Right. Now, if that 55-foot truck pulls out and makes a left-hand turn, and the light is red, the westbound lane will be blocked, the eastbound lane will be blocked. So what happens now with all that traffic that is tied up?
I don't believe those lanes will be blocked.
Pardon me?
Those lanes will not be blocked.
Well, what's the width of the roadways?
The width?
The width.
Each lane is going to be a minimum of 12 foot wide. I haven't looked at the actual
Okay,
PennDOT plans.
so 4 times 12 would be 48 feet, so you still have another 7 feet hanging over.
If you look here
hanging
at
out
our
there.
turning movement right here, This truck will come out here, and at this point, he will be out of this lane of traffic going that direction.
If there's no traffic stopped at the light.
Right, right. If the
Right.
light is red, what happens now?
Then the truck sits on the CVS property and waits until it's
You
safe to
think.
come out.
Yeah, well.
Well, and-
Yeah, I do.
Well, our other concern is also the customers
You're not being
coming out
practical
and
about
making,
that.
making a
I
left
believe
across.
we are. That's why PennDOT allows it to happen. They're being practical as we are.
I mean,
from
there's
an
a highway
engineering point of
occupancy
view.
permit. I mean, these are matters within the jurisdiction of PennDOT because this is a state road.
I have a question along the same lines. On the picture you have there, is that the updated 286 configuration? With the improvement that's happening, 286 is going to be completed in October. Is that the updated, like, is that how it's going to be? Is there
I'd
going to be?
verify that, yes, it is.
Okay.
This is the way it's going to be.
Now, is there going to be a 3 lanes there? Is there a turning lane?
There's center left turning lane right here that I'm pointing to. That is going to be for all traffic to make left turns
Now, and I don't know if
in
you.
and out of the site.
Okay, so that's not just the left-hand turn for the light, it's actually the left-hand turn for the property and also then the light?
That is correct.
Okay.
Well,
I think what you're.
Will there be like a
Yeah, I think what
holding
you're
line?
getting at, Doc, is actually why they positioned their driveway where they did is, at that point, is where the taper starts for the left turn lane.
Right, but it's
So
the left turn going east, is
So
that
it's a
correct?
center turn lane to their driveway, and then as soon as you pass the driveway, it starts to taper for the left turn lane.
So Paul, that's going east, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So,
But the center turn lane is obviously for both directions. But as soon as you pass their entryway, then it becomes a left turn.
Did we ever, excuse my voice, did we ever determine on Old Abers Creek and behind the property where the culvert is, did anybody ever come up with how much weight that culvert would carry for a truck to go out there?
That, I did, I know this has been a topic of discussion. In 1972, the municipality installed that culvert. It was designed to a 10-ton weight limit. It has been ever since.
would you put a 10-ton weight limit sign on there?
I would actually put a less one on. And that's what Sean had recommended,
Right, and
because
the way-
our blanket ordinance basically says a 5-ton weight limit on local
Right,
roads.
and what does a 55-foot trailer weigh?
More than 5 tons.
And we
Which is exactly why we reconfigured and brought them back across the
Okay, well,
front of our
I have a
store.
question for our solicitor. Okay, the site plan shall not, this is the addendum to the resolution. The site plan shall not be official until and unless it is approved by Monroeville Municipal Council. Council may add such requirements to the site plan as it determines are appropriate in the circumstances. If the council adds any requirements, a revised site plan reflecting such additional requirements shall be filed with the municipal zoning officer within 90 days of the date of the action of the council opposing such requirements. So can we require this construction site to be, to add some additional requirements to this
Okay,
site?
my suggestion is that you want to ask me that in executive session.
Okay.
Council, let's go to an executive session.
I still have.
Well, I still have another question.
Can we address this issue first?
Well, go ahead. Let
I don't want to run back and forth 10 times.
Okay.
In your meeting at planning, there is, it is brought up about the environmental study for the gas station that had been there.
Correct.
And that phase 1 on the old custard shop, and then there will be, phase 2 will have to be conducted?
That's
Has that
correct.
been completed yet?
It has not been completed, it's been started. It's not complete yet.
And when do you anticipate that?
It's
I haven't
soon,
heard-
but I mean, it's
Soon,
not.
but I
It's
can't
not,
tie it down to a date right now, but hopefully within a month. within
and
this-
it's not a concern for the developer.
Okay, but phase 1's passed, as far as the...
Phase 1 indicated that there may be some contaminated soils remnant from a previous tank removal.
Mhm.
And all the Phase 2 recommended was to go drill some holes to see if that material is in fact there or had been remediated the way it was supposed to be. So that's really all they're looking for, is drilling some holes to see if they.
Okay, so what
Would
happens
that
if
be an
they find
independent
it?
test agency?
Yes.
Okay, and when will that be done?
Like I told her, I don't know the exact date, but hopefully within this
Well,
month.
I don't think I could move forward until that's completed.
Well, I mean, I would defer to Mr. Dice, but I think that those considerations would respectfully submit to you that those considerations are outside of the scope of this proceeding.
I don't think.
Well, when do they come into play then?
In negotiations between the buyer and seller, and, you know, those are private property liability issues. I mean, I don't understand. This is an opportunity to develop this property.
We're not looking
I don't know what the concern would be with the Phase 2 from the municipality's
We're not looking
perspective.
to-
Would it be that, okay, you're right?
May I speak?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was just trying to finish your question.
We're not looking to deny this. We're looking to make it safe for everyone that's going to shop there. We know that CVS is a great partner for our municipality. We really enjoy them as a partner. However, in my opinion, we need to make sure this area is safe for everybody that's going to shop in there, and for your vehicles going in there, in and out of there. And I know that CVS, being a good neighbor that they are, they would want the same thing.
I can answer that in this way. The Phase 2 is being completed. If contamination is found, and if it becomes too costly for CVS to remediate it, there will not be a CVS here because they don't want to build on an unsafe, environmentally clean site.
That's a better way.
That's a given.
That's what I was trying to articulate. Thank you.
But Mr. Hugus, isn't it true that if CVS finds contaminated soil, either they or the property owner has to take care of it anyway, whether they develop or not?
The property owner is the underlining responsibility.
Not CVS.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So it has to be cleaned up?
Yes.
Right.
If it's found?
That's
The
right.
Whether they do it or the property owner?
Whoever the recorded property owner
Yeah,
is the responsible.
The bottom line is that the dirty ground comes out,
One way or the other?
one way or the other.
And
It's
in
found.
events in the past, I can't speak to this because I don't know what they're going to find, but CVS has worked with the property owner and cleaned up the sites and moved on with the project, so.
I think that's kind of what we were trying to get to.
Well, again, until we know for sure if anything even exists or what kind of remediation we're looking at, I can't speak to what CVS would be willing to do or not do, but in past projects where it's something minor like we anticipate to find here, they'd simply clean it up and move on.
And they'll pay as much for the property.
I have a real quick
Exactly.
question
That's-
also. If PennDOT approves, not just this project, but any project, like Route 22 or on 286, if they approve ingress and egress, do we have, as a municipality, the power to deny?
I want to talk about that in executive session.
Oh, is that the reason we're going in?
One of
Any
the
other
reasons.
questions you want to ask before we go to an executive session?
Let's go.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to hopefully a brief executive session, and we'll be back as soon as we can. So gentlemen, please grab a seat. We'll be with you shortly.
Thank you.